All right, there are 4 performance bonuses tonight. Pauliana Viana, Hernandez, Marquez, and Usman. They all won $50,000. Congratulations.
Dana, the main event turned out to be every bit as good, I think, as anybody could have hoped.
Yep.
What were your thoughts on what you saw out there tonight?
I've been waiting for this fight for a year. I was excited for this fight. I knew this fight was going to be great. You know, for all the attributes that Usman has, his chin is probably his best one. This guy's got a chin from hell. He took some big shots tonight and just kept coming forward. And, yeah, I was just talking to him back there. You know, he said, yeah, he buzzed me with that first shot. But, you know, I've been there with him before. He always throws. He said he used to get hit with that punch when they used to spar. And, you know, basically just made him mad. And he said, I'm going to finish him. So, yeah, the kid's the real deal, man. He breaks GSP's consecutive win streak record tonight. And for the people that know, for the people that actually know about fighting, they know that this win tonight was a big deal over a very motivated, well-trained, mentally tough, confident, badass kid.
You know, over the years, it's funny because, you know, you've had stars that are incredibly talented that take a while to take off, right, to really get the respect they deserve. I mean, famously, like Anderson Silva didn't get respect for a long time. Do you feel like a night like tonight where he's tested, you know, he shows character, he wins in a way that's exciting, not necessarily just grappling? Do you think this might be a moment where his star does start to rise a little bit?
Yeah, you never know when that's going to happen. Listen, this guy's got nothing but badass dudes lined up ahead. I mean, he's still got – he should have, if he doesn't have the respect now, he should have got it after the Covington fight. I can't stop talking about the Covington fight. It's one of the greatest fights I've ever seen. Anybody who didn't respect him after that, you're just, you know, that's your problem, not his.
Yeah, no question. You know, we're always looking to what's next. You teased that Colby Covington-Leon Edwards fight. Was any progress made over the last, you know, day on that?
No, I just said that's the fight that makes sense. I mean, what I said was the kid took a fight with Hamzat. And, you know, he's ranked number 3 or 4 in the world, and he's fighting a guy that's ranked number 15. You know, all the shit that guy's been through, he should go this way. Well, if he goes that way, it's Covington. So, no, it's not done. That was yesterday that we talked about that.
I know, yeah. Things happen quick. They change every day. You just said it, right?
Yeah.
The other one I want to ask you about, though, it sounded like I didn't hear his comments, and we haven't talked to Kamaru yet, but it sounds like he went in pretty hard on Jorge Masvidal as well. Would you consider doing that rematch ahead of either Covington or Edwards, or does that not make sense? Obviously, from a star perspective, it would seem to make sense.
Yeah, listen, there's a lot of options for him right now.
Fair enough. Last thing for me.
And if that's the fight he wants, then that's the fight Masvidal wants, and I'm sure the people would like to see it too. So, I don't know, but I don't know if I've ever told you guys this or not, but I don't make fights the night of the fight. But
wasn't aware of that. I'll note that moving forward.
All right. So you guys are aware.
Last thing for me, just curious if you had any updates on the physical condition of either Bobby Green or Jillian Robertson. Obviously, we lost both those fights just before the fight. So any update on those? Bobby
texted me tonight and said he's fine, and he said, I'll make this one up to you. And I said, all we care about is that you're okay, kid. It's all good. And then I have Jillian's number. I was going to call her during the fights, but I haven't called her yet.
Yeah. Do you know if there's any chance of like keeping those fights together and rescheduling, or just not sure?
I have no idea. Yeah.
Fair enough. Thanks.
Hey, Dana, to your right here. I wanted to ask you about Usman's jab. It seemed like trouble in the first round. That jab really turned the fight around, I thought. And there hasn't been many jabs that good, I don't think, in the UFC that I can remember. Would you agree with that? Do you think he has one of the best jabs you've seen in this company?
Definitely tonight. I mean, he looked damn good with that jab tonight. Was landing it sharp, hard, and fast, and he dropped him with a jab. Yeah, I agree.
And the fact that Kamaru, is a wrestler and a guy that's a great grappler and everything, obviously he showed his striking before, but he wanted no part of the ground, and yet he still won the fight. That diversity is kind of what makes guys in this go from very good to great, is it not?
Yeah, I think that, the way that the fight was playing out, it would have been absolutely ridiculous for Usman to jump down there in his guard. He was hurting him on the feet. Keep it standing. Do not dive into that guard.
And Gilbert Burns, I mean, here's a guy that fought a great fight as well. I mean, he was a tremendous opponent. What do you think was the key to him getting to where he was? Because this was a guy that, he had a great record, obviously, but did not look like a championship contender at lightweight. In this weight class, he looks like a killer. Do you think it was just the weight, or was there something else he did?
Well, I think it was absolutely the weight. I mean, when you look at what he's done since he moved up, it was definitely the weight. And the reason he got to where he is because he's a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu multiple-time world champion, and he didn't care about going to the ground and getting taken down, and the guy hits really hard. So he had no problem standing and trading, or didn't matter where the fight went, the guy was dangerous. He's a jiu-jitsu guy who has heavy hands.
And then last thing, to go back to Kamaru, you think of like Joe Louis had the long, whatever it was, 25, consecutive wins and everything. Usman's, what is he now, 18, I think it is?
17.
17?
Yeah.
How long is it realistic with the kind of guys he's going to be facing, in your opinion, to go? Do you think he could get to 20 consecutive wins?
That's why I was talking the other day during all the press, and I was saying, people kept asking, when do you think, is he going to be a breakout star? Is he going to do this? Is he going to do that? I said, what's going to happen is, if you look at all the guys that are lined up that he has to fight next, and he keeps doing what he's doing, we're all going to pop our heads up one day and start talking GOAT. I mean, if this guy can continue, it's not just how are you fighting, are you winning, it's who you're fighting. And this guy has nothing but straight killers in that division that he has to get through, and possibly twice, some of them.
Dana, at the beginning of the fight, Kamaru didn't touch gloves with Gilbert. They had the intense face-off before the fight even started. Do you think it's fair to say Kamaru felt pretty disrespected by the whole gym change and Burns coming for his title?
Nah, I don't know if that played into it. I just think a lot of that stuff is either part of the head games or in the moment type stuff. They just, I don't want to touch your glove right now. I want to punch you in the head, So you'll have to ask him that question, but I would imagine that it's more that than disrespect.
Obviously, we haven't seen the reaction play out just yet, but do you think it's safe to say that Usman is probably one of the most underrated fighters on the roster?
By who? Not by me. Not by me. Yeah, maybe listen, when you look at what, like you guys asked me yesterday, the negative talk going into this fight or whatever, you have casual fans that will come in for the big ones, and then you have hardcore fans that will watch everything, and there's different groups of people that come and go. We can look at who's watching, and know who watches, 10 a year, who watches this. We can do that with the pay-per-views. And you have totally different groups of people that come in for different fighters. And, the people that know. I mean, for anybody to say that Usman's not, you don't know anything about fighting. And that's okay. Maybe you just jump in and you like to watch it because it's the thing to do, and Connor's fighting or this guy's fighting. But if you know anything about fighting and you don't think that Usman is, you really don't know anything about fighting.
And last thing for me, a special night for Bruce Buffer tonight. I was just going to give you the opportunity to say what Bruce means to your business and as a member of the brand.
Yeah, I think that Bruce is one of the greatest of all time. In that clip that we did on him, I was talking about when we first took this company over and I came in and took over all the production, I was deciding who was going to stay and who was going to go. And, Bruce was one of the guys I obviously kept. And I thought that Bruce had great potential to be who Bruce is today.
There's a lot of talk about, obviously, Kamaru possibly like a breakout star in the media and everything, but at what point do the odds makers have to start giving him these massive betting odds? Because he was minus 270 now.
I thought they did. I mean, he was a 3-1 dog. I didn't think that this fight was 3-1. I didn't think it was because, in saying that, you're saying that Gilbert Burns is a 3-1. There's no way. Gilbert Burns is not a 3-1 dog, but Usman is that good. He was that good tonight.
Then earlier on the night,
if you're betting, you bet Gilbert all fucking day at 3-1.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Anyway.
Earlier on the night, Anthony Hernandez had a big submission win. Talking about odds, he was 30-1 to submit Rodolfo Vieira. So what'd you make of his performance?
Incredible, man. Incredible. I mean, that was one of the fights that we picked to be a great fight tonight, and it was. and even the commentators were talking about during the fight, nobody wants to come in and fight this guy. Nobody does. Hernandez did, and it was what we thought it was going to be, man. It was awesome.
And then co-main event, what did you think of Alexa Grasso?
She looked incredible tonight. Listen, Macy Barber is a gangster. This woman believes that she's going to be the champ before, and she comes back from her injury and she is ready to go. Grasso is a girl that we were looking at a long time ago. We thought like she's going to be the Ronda Rousey of Mexico. You know what I mean? She had a couple of speed bumps in her career, but boy, she's on point now. Her punching is crisp and clean, and the distance, that she kept, and she couldn't look any more perfect tonight, going against an absolute savage.
Then finally, did you catch any streamers this time? I know you had a.
So it's interesting because, you don't know how into this I am. I'm very, very into this, and not a lot of them were streaming tonight. We were going to go after one of the big ones tonight, and they did not stream tonight. So, yeah, we keep doing what we're doing.
Hey, Dana.
Yep.
Hey, would you say this was the best performance of Kamaru Usman's career so far?
I don't know, man. That Covington fight, I just think that him and Colby Covington is one of the best fights I've ever seen. And say what you want, think what you want about Colby Covington. Colby Covington's a bad dude, man, and he dominates everybody that he fights. And he's the real deal. He's very good. And if you look at the war that he and Usman had and how Usman finished that fight, it's one of the greatest fights I've ever seen. So he looked damn good tonight, but he looked really good in that Covington fight.
Jorge Masvidal's management just tweeted out, "Tough, let's do it," with Kamaru Usman. Do you like that? Kamaru Usman, Jorge Masvidal, the Ultimate Fighter this summer.
Look at these guys making deals on Twitter. I don't know. I don't know what we're gonna do, but we'll see.
And lastly, speaking of Twitter, Nate Diaz, he's been very vocal on Twitter. We don't have a matchup. He doesn't want to do 155. Talks about 170, trading barbs with Conor McGregor, Leon Edwards. Do we have any talks with Nate Diaz? Are we close to
Why do
booking
you guys keep asking me about these guys? No. If we did, we'd announce it. We'd say it. You guys eat this shit up like fucking candy.
Dana over here, on your left. Dana, obviously, Kamaru is very proud of his heritage. You have Israel Adesanya, also from Africa. Potentially Francis Ngannou could become heavyweight champion by the end of next month. Perfect world, when everything reopens, is 3 African UFC champions enough to make UFC Africa a reality?
Yeah. Listen, I think I answered this question yesterday. When we went to the Middle East, we have tons of Middle Easterners fighting on the card. When we go to Asia, we have lots of Asians fighting on the card. When we go to England, we have lots of English and Europeans fighting on the card. Yes, if we do a show in Africa, which we do we want to go everywhere. You guys have heard me say, I will do a fight everywhere on this planet. And Africa is one of those places. But to say that right now, I don't know enough about the future and what's going on and how fast this stuff will happen.
In terms of growing the brand and everything else, how important is it to have those local fighters from around the world? Obviously, everyone wants a Conor McGregor to come to their country, fight in their town. But what does it mean to the brand to have a champion from that area to help grow the UFC there?
Yeah, it's a big deal. Obviously, when you have a guy or girl who looks like you, talks like you, and comes from where you come from, and they are perceived as the baddest human being in the world, it creates a lot of interest in that area. It's the key to everything. It's big. That's Asia. The Weili Zhang thing is taking off, and we're starting to cultivate tons of good talent over there from the PI. And that's basically how this works and what we're going to continue to do. And I've told you guys, it's crazy how things work out. That whole land deal fell apart in Mexico right before the pandemic. It was a blessing in disguise. But I will find some places in Mexico. I will build performance institutes. I want to do one in Puerto Rico. I'm doing one in the Middle East. And that's what we do. That's what we're going to continue to do.
My final question: were you able to talk to Tom Brady and congratulate him on his 7th ring?
I did. I talked to him the next day after the Super Bowl. Yeah.
Dana,
Yeah.
you did mention the expectation you have on Alexa Grasso. After her performance tonight, do you think she's going to be contending for the title shortly?
Well, do I think she'll be a contender for the title? She was ranked number 15. Tonight's fight probably breaks her into the top 10. So she's got a ways to go. But boy, she took a big jump tonight with that win and heading in that direction.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Dana, straight down the middle.
Hi.
So Kamaru is on track to be one of the most dominant champions in that division. He was also part of the Black History Month promo videos. Do you see him kind of taking the next step into maybe the Modelo commercials or other forms of like marketing and promotion outside of when he's actually fighting?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's been the big topic of discussion here tonight. I mean, you know, at what point to those type of people start to recognize Kamaru Usman and how good he is? And he's a good guy. He's well-spoken, you know, good family guy. He's a great dad to his daughter. He's got an unbelievable backstory. Dresses really well too. I mean, he's the whole package. The guy's got the whole thing. It's just, you know, when are people going to notice?
Well, people could be your friends over at Endeavor, right?
People could be they're my friends.
I mean, you are tied to Endeavor, and
yeah, I'm also tied to 475 fighters that all need to be promoted. It's like, you know, to just say, oh, Endeavor can take them and do this and that. It's really not that easy, especially in this climate right now. You don't see a lot of sponsors throwing a lot of money around these days. We're in a really weird place right now. So it's just not that type of environment right now.
I want to ask you real quick about Macy Barber.
Those guys aren't even open yet. Those guys aren't going back to work till God knows when.
Yeah.
So
Just want to ask you real quick about Macy. She's 22. You know, what did you see from her tonight, even in the loss, that you think she can be building on? She's tough. Man.
She's a savage. She's a savage. She's one of the most ambitious and toughest, you know, young women that I've ever met. So I expect nothing but big things for her. She's a baby still, too. She's young. She's got nothing but time. You know, I know she put this unbelievable pressure on herself to be a champion before John Jones. And it's good to have set goals for yourself. But she's a baby, man. She's got nothing but time, and she's only going to get better.
Yeah, it looks like the first week of March, the Golden Knights are submitting a plan to get fans in. Conference basketball tournaments are going to have some fans in first week of March. Do you guys have plan? I know you have to submit a plan to the governor to show that you can do it. Do you guys have a plan to do that at all?
I got plans, too.
You guys going to?
I'm not doing a percentage. I want to sell out.
So you won't do anything until it can
No.
be 100?
No.
Okay.
It's too nice over here. I like it here.
What has that conversation been like to fill the seats?
Yeah, listen, I said on ESPN the other day that I was optimistic that by this summer, we could be doing it, either in Florida or here. Good?
Dana, real quick, just when you compare Usman to GSP, I mean, you know, it's almost heresy to say anybody's in the league of George St. Pierre. Do you think Usman is at least in that class now? Can you say that he's in the GSP class?
He just broke his record tonight. Yeah.
But I mean, as an overall fighter, yeah.
Absolutely. I mean, if you look at what he just did, he just broke his record tonight for consecutive wins. And if this guy keeps rolling, I mean, what we were saying earlier, if Usman can keep doing what he's doing, he's going to go down as the greatest welterweight ever. It's a fact. I mean, you just look at who he's fought and who he has to fight here in the future. It's undeniable that this guy will go down as the best welterweight. The question is, where will he go down in the history of the sport?